Number 590. 590. Jesus is all the world to me, my life, my joy, my all. He is my strength from day to day. Without him I would fall. When I am sad, to him I go. No other one can cheer me so. When I am sad, he makes me glad. He's my friend. Jesus is all the world to me, my friend in trials sore. I go to him for blessings, and he gives them more and more. He sends the sunshine and the rain. He sends the harvest, golden grain. Sunshine and rain, harvest of grain. He's my friend. Jesus is all the world to me. I want no better friend. I trust him now, I'll trust him when life's fleeting days shall end. Beautiful life with such a friend. Beautiful life that has no end. Eternal life, eternal joy. He's my friend. 464. 464. God sent his son, they called him Jesus. He came to love, heal and forgive. He lived and died to buy my pardon and empty grave.
So, I was going to do an analogy about racing and running, or maybe an analogy about driving and swerving and going in and out to get where you're trying to get to. And y'all probably wouldn't accept my running analogy. And I'm not really that good at driving and getting in and out of those things. So I will give it more my speed. So one time I was standing, or I had my buggy, and I was going to check out. And when I went to check out, there was like 3 people in this line and 4 people, and then there's only 2 people in this one, but they had buggies full and overflowing. And so I was left with a choice, right? Which line do you get in? So I chose the 3 buggy because I thought, well, here's the one that's going to be the fastest out. And one buggy went, and the second one, the dreaded light popped on. They needed help. Had to call somebody over there. I don't know if they had bought too much sinus medicine or what, but whatever. So then what do? What would you do? Out of that lane, we got to go to the other lane. So I go to the other lane, and guess what? It's great. I moved up one buggy and sat there while this lady strategically placed all of her items she wanted in a sack together and then she strategically placed the next group of items that she wanted in the sack together. Some of you are going, that is so smart. But to the guy behind her, that was not so smart. I just wanted to finish the race. I just wanted to get out of the store. Have you been there? Life ever felt that way for you? Where you just wanted to get through, you were just trying to get there, and you're trying to make all the right decisions and all the right moves to make it work and to get it where it needs to get to. And have you living your life that way? And yeah, like I said, I could have started with an analogy of a race and running and weaving. I could have talked about driving and so forth, and I settled where I settled. But at the end of the day, the end goal is to be found successful, to finish the race. It's not about a sprint that you have to finish first. When Paul got to the end of his life and he was writing to Timothy, he didn't say, I have fought the good fight and I finished first in the race. That's not what he said. What did he say? I fought the good fight. I finished the race. I kept the faith. That's what we need to do. And sometimes we might get in the fast lane and get through quick. Sometimes we might have to be patient. And in your patience, recognize God's hand in it. Thank Him for that moment that you got. Maybe look around and be a blessing to someone else. And then finish the race. We got just a few announcements before we go to class this evening. We want to remember Nudie Bowles. She is, let's see. I know she's at home. She's still battling cancer, had some things that she's dealing with, hoping to get a chemo treatment in soon. So we want to continue to remember her and her family in your prayers. Of course, Shannon had her surgery yesterday and on her shoulder, and it went well. She is at home. Ed Cookingham's at home with heart issues, and also Linda Chilcutt, the daughter of Barbara Holt, is having more tests and waiting results. And then from our community, Sarah Key fell and broke her hip and had surgery and is in recovery or rehab now. Some events coming up to make you aware of. On the 19th, this coming Sunday at 4 o'clock is the Tabitha class. Next Wednesday is the Ladies' Bible class at 11 o'clock. The following Sunday, the 26th, is our Fall Fellowship Day, potluck lunch. We'll be a part of that. The meat will be provided by the church building, not by the church, by the church itself here at the building. You bring side dishes and desserts, and remember, peanut allergies, no peanut products there. And there's a Devo to follow, but there will not be a PM service. But that night, the 26th at 5:30, is the trunk or treat. And so to be a part of that, be excited to be a part of that evening. Love for y'all to be here to help that. And I'm assuming we're going to stay traditional And we're going to do it over here on this side and circle the parking lot with your vehicles and let the kids trick or treat around to your vehicle. Then the next day, on Monday the 27th, Crockett Senior Saints event will be here at 6 o'clock in the fellowship room. On the 19th, there's a meeting with Meredith Key about the annual Christmas ladies gift exchange. And this coming Sunday is the last day to pick up your dishes in the foyer before you are making a donation to the Crockett Mission. All right. And those are the things that we have going on. Is there anything else that I need to make an announcement about? Okay. Those of you who are leaving the auditorium and going to class, the first bell will sound at 7:15, and then the second bell will sound at 7:20. Best wishes. Go to class.
Well, good evening. If we have a mad rush of people run in about 3 minutes till 7, we'll know they didn't get the message. And that's quite all right. Life happens, doesn't it? But thank you for those of you making the effort, and hopefully this will work out for all involved, and help those that needed that help to get where they need to be. So 8:30 tonight, don't text or call me. I plan on being in bed. Brad, thank you for the first of the quarter of teaching and doing that. And Brad and I swapping out, so I'll have it now till we get to November. And I think Bobby and Andrew take over after that, and however they decide to split up and go. I want to talk. It's one of those things. Sunday morning, sometimes I feel like we can get deep into things. Wednesday night, personally, I like the personal level, the what can I do to go out and get through Thursday, Friday, Saturday to get me back to Sunday. It's just a little different feel for that. And so that's my teaching style. Doesn't mean that has to be your philosophy or what you think, but that's the way I enjoy Wednesday night, is having the conversation of how to get through the rest of the week, so to speak, and where we are. And obviously with a biblical guide and a biblical principles behind it all, but it allows us the ability to put into action those things that we dig deeper into. Now, obviously, there's going to be some things in this that we get a little deeper, and that's great. Want to, if that's where it takes us. But I want it to be a study where we talk. And if you've been in my classes, I'll ask questions and hopefully get the conversation going, because it helps. I learn from you, and y'all learn from each other way more than one person just up lecturing. And I do prefer that. I want to do a study from now until November, basically on the 10 Commandments. And so that's the overall theme of it, and getting, not necessarily digging into each one individually, although we will make it through all 10, some of them a couple a night, obviously, by tonight being an intro, and then we don't have 10 more weeks of it. But getting into really what's behind and what's going on with the principles, or what God established through what we refer to as the 10 Commandments. Now, The Ten Commandments are in what portion of our Bible? The Old Testament in Exodus chapter 20, and that's where the Ten Commandments are located. Now, all of those, and sometimes multiple times, are restated as still commands, not in listed order on the tablet given to Moses, but are listed in the New Testament as well for us to follow. Minus what? The Sabbath. Yeah, minus the Sabbath. Now, there's the first day of the week that Jesus put to rest on the cross. And when he came together and when the apostles came together, they came together on the first day of the week to break bread and to remember the resurrection, death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. And so the idea of worshiping, we didn't throw that away where God said, but the principles of the Sabbath, of resting and how far you could travel and what you could do, and Bobby even had a sermon on it not too long ago about doing good on the Sabbath and all those kind of things. But it goes over into the New Testament, all taught, all still great principles. So as we talk about it, are we still to abide by the Ten Commandments? You honestly cannot answer that wrong. I think the answer is yes and no. Yeah, we're not under the Ten Commandments that are on the tablet given to Moses and of themselves because the old law has been put to rest. We're under the same commandments that God gave over in the New Testament or the New Law. They're still there. You still don't covet. You still don't steal. You still don't put an idol before God. And all of that's taught in the New Testament. So the answer is yes, we still abide by, but we're not under the straight 10 in a list from Exodus chapter 20 that is there. So to kick it off, that's kind of where we're going. But now I want to rewind way back to some conversations with you guys. How have we gotten in our society and in America to the moral decline that we see every day? Lack of priorities, Brad said. And I will repeat so everybody can hear. I'll repeat what people are saying. Lack of priorities. Yeah. Yeah. Set up here, television, media, social media, and the internet in general. Milton. Whoa. Give me that. Because that's in there, and I didn't hit on that at first. That didn't come to my mind until I got in the study. Milton said being silent on certain things. Think about that now. There's a moral decline in America, in our society, and what we're doing because of the internet, social media, television, all that. Because the lack of priorities, and because we sit by and let stuff happen. Now, that wasn't first on my list, but I'm glad you brought that up. That wasn't first on my list when I did it. I was going down those things just like Alice and Brad and others. Well, that's a great question for the class. Is that a learned behavior, to sit by and let it go? You're silent because you're afraid of the judgment or being seen as different. Yeah. Yeah. So it's an easier path for us to just be silent. We take the easy path, just to be silent. All right. Thoughts on that? Brad said sometimes it's seed. I'm gonna come to you because I know the wheels are turning. I saw that. I saw that forehead, Frank. Oh, yeah. You got to get some Botox to help with that. I'm just kidding. All the ladies laughed. All the men said, "What?" We're taught not to cause a scene, cause a stir, but it's being silent, causing its own scene. God's missing from, you hate to say everything, but pretty near everything. Yes. Yes. The breakdown of the home has been a tremendous. Um, there are things that there are little catchphrases that you say, like such and such happened, and people go, "Why did that happen?" And you've probably heard this before. Follow the money. You ever heard that? Follow the money, and it'll tell the story. And you go, "Oh, okay. Oh, so and so got this, who got this, and oh, it makes sense now. It really wasn't the right decision, but follow the money and do that." The decline of moral and all that. Go back to the home. Find out when it started, where it's going, what's being lacked in teaching, in observation by our kids, what they got to see, what they got to hear versus what they are hearing and what they are seeing. That decline, Miss Betty, you're so right with that. Yeah, yeah. There's a big difference in what they are seeing and what they should be seeing. Ted, you're so right. So silence is perceived as you're okay with it. If you sit by and let it go, then you stamp of approval. Milton, was you gonna say something? Yeah, yeah. And it's so hard if you're not a part of the majority, then speaking out is controversial because you're not a part and you just don't want to fight that battle. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're right. You're right. Can I quote you on that? You can't come in hot on somebody. Yeah, yeah. Do y'all understand that phrase? Yeah. You can't come pounding. Yeah. Yeah. We used to call it the Bible bangers. You come in, just beat them over the head with the Bible, and they should get it. They should get it. I know. No, you're fine. You're fine, Autumn. You're fine. I love how you said it. That it's yeah. Because if you do, you might not ever have an opportunity beyond that to have any. Once that impression is made or whatever's there, you might get an opportunity down the road depending on the relationship you've already built. But you could very much lose a whole chance to do good. Would you say? Yeah, a sword fight. Yeah. I got my Bible, you got your Bible. I got my verse, you got your verse. Let's go at it. Yeah. That's correct. Yeah. Okay. So great segue for me right there. People say you're old fashioned, your times have changed, you don't have to do it that way anymore, and all of that. Which leads me right into where I said we're going with this. Of the Ten Commandments that started in the Old Testament were reiterated in the New Testament. Were they just for Moses and his people? Or they reiterated in the New Testament just for Christians in that day and time? Is it just for our generation? Or is it for future generations too? The answer is it's all of that. For everyone, the standard has been set. We have lost the lack of morality and in America and the world and all of that because we haven't gone back to the standard that has been set. We let little things slide, which changes the standard. Bobby, I'm not Jesus though. We know. Somebody else raise y'all's hand when he starts talking. I'm just kidding. Welcome to Bobby and Brooks' bedroom at home in Batesville, where we argued back and forth. Yep. Uh huh. Uh huh. Verse 25 through 30. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. He tightened it down in the New Testament by saying all those things. When you go, well, let's go there because I don't know if I'll even get there. Matthew chapter 20. Sorry. 5 verse. That's correct. Um, Matthew chapter 5, I said 25. Matthew chapter 5, verse 27. So you think about the Ten Commandments and you think about, okay, there's a list there. But what did God really mean? I mean, was it just don't steal and that's like taken from somebody? Or did he mean don't steal because you've lost perspective because what somebody else has that's not yours isn't going to make you happy? That's why you don't steal. It's not about taking it from somebody. It's deeper than just don't steal. And we'll get through that in the next several weeks of that. Matthew 5, verse 27 through 30. Somebody read that for us. And so he tightens it down there. No, you've heard it said don't commit adultery. I'm going to tell you, not there. Don't even look at a woman and lust at her. I didn't loosen it up by the New Testament law. I tightened it down and said, y'all are going by a checklist. And you're saying, I didn't commit adultery. But he said, you did everything but. And you shouldn't even do that. Yeah. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength. Love your neighbor yourself. Matthew chapter 22. Wendy, you did good. Matthew chapter 22. Again in verse 34. I guess we can go back that far. Matthew chapter 22, verse 34. When the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together. What do you reckon they was trying to do there? Yeah. All right, so he silenced the Sadducees, so let's get together and we got a question for him. And one of them who was a lawyer, we understand what that is, okay, asked him a question to test. Teacher, which is the great command in the law? And he said what? Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, with all your mind. Great and first commandment. And the second like it, love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend the law and prophets. Let's go back and list the 10 commandments. And you tell me which one doesn't fall under loving God or loving your neighbor. Which one doesn't fall under that? No other God before me. Which ones that fall under? Love the Lord your God. No graven images before me. Love the Lord your God. Don't take my name in vain, the Lord's name in vain. Love the Lord your God. Remember the Sabbath. It's holy. Remember the day that's holy. Love the Lord your God. Honor your father and mother. Love your neighbors yourself. Don't murder your neighbor. Don't commit adultery. Love your neighbor. Don't steal. Don't bear false witness against or lie on. And don't covet. Summed it up in 2 laws of the commands that have been given to us. There's a poem, and in the young adult class, we studied this book several years ago. I might even swing back to it at some point in time. There's a poem that was, I say a poem, a statement / poem, a philosopher basically that said it. said, when nothing seems to help, I go look at a stone cutter hammering away at his rock, and perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in the rock. Yet on the 101st blow, it will split in two. And I know it was not that specific blow that did it, but everything that went on before. Okay? Now, in the book Pound the Stone, we talked about doing things right over and over and over and over. And finally, things bust through, so to speak. We're going to hit this, do right, do right, do right, do right, do right. And eventually it bust open. But it wasn't the 101st blow that made it bust open by itself. It's because we were consistent in what we did, and we finally broke through. And having that grit and that determination to do what's right. Okay? Now, in the same poem, we can go and make another analogy. We've done things wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong and stood by and watched and didn't say nothing and didn't say nothing and let this happen and let people talk about this, and to where we finally get to a point in 2025 and we go, how did we get here? Well, it wasn't yesterday's blow on the news that got us there. It was all of those pounds over and over and over that got us there. And the way to stop it is to go back to what the standard has been set. That began with Moses and will go the test of time. Every one of those things are going to go through the test of time. Yep. Mm-hmm. The Ten Commandments. It all goes back to that. Now, some countries use the Ten Commandments in protecting property and law, like it's all about the outward appearance. Where the Ten Commandments, when we dig a little deeper the next few weeks, isn't really about coveting what Brad has, and I really wish I could have it, and I'd do anything I could to get it. Because it's not outward. The only way I got to the point of coveting was it came from within. And so laws and standards have been set for us and how we act and how we behave and what's right and what's wrong, but it's rooted inside, way deeper than don't covet and don't steal. Just as Jesus said, you've heard it said, don't commit adultery. I tell you, don't even look at a woman in a lustful manner. There's the novel of Mice and Men used to be one. I don't even know if it's, Lord, is that even still a thing? And y'all still have to read it? Or, no, it's not a thing. But there was a phrase in that. I remember reading of Mice and Men. I don't remember the phrase until he said it here. But it was said in that novel, there's nothing wrong anymore. There's nothing wrong anymore. Now, from I'm like, so. Yeah, without saying anything, nothing's wrong. It's okay. How old's the novel? It has stood the test of time, hasn't it? Yeah. It's at least back to when was I supposed to read it? I don't think I ever read it, but I suppose. I think I read the Cliff Notes. Bobby gave me a good collection after he got through with English of Cliff Notes he collected, and I got to have them next. So, but anyway, no, there are things I wish I'd have read. There's history lessons that I wish I'd have paid attention to that I'm really, really interested in now. And I sat through class thinking, why am I doing this? And I really wish I'd have known the history behind things. But in the statement of this book, circling back to where I'm going, there's nothing wrong anymore. Do you have that feeling? Now, there's two different sides to that question. We're in a Bible class, nothing's wrong anymore. Well, we're going to prove through the standard of the commandments that God has given and how we should live and love the Lord your God. We're going to prove that wrong. Then there's the answer from step outside of a Bible class, there's nothing wrong anymore. What does that carry with it? What does that mean? Yeah, we have to get busy, no doubt, getting back to the standard. What does it mean that there's nothing wrong anymore? Anything goes, Rooster. Is it okay to steal? Now, hold on now. Hold on now. Thank you, Luke. What if you're hungry? What if you got a family of 8 at home? You gotta get them kids something to eat. You ain't got no money. It's okay to steal. It's no ever okay to steal. All right, that's good. I'm pushing on you. I'm pushing on you a little bit there. Is you know? Yeah. Yep. I agree with that. It should be seen, and we should be able to act and give and help them where we can. No doubt. Is being silent a sin? Ask the preacher. Yeah. You don't really have to ask the preacher. I'll just mess. Yeah. I was trying to get myself off the hook, Milton. No. Yeah, I got off the No. To him who knows to do good and does not, to him it is sin. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. You were just okay with it. Yeah. But you didn't really want to do it. But if somebody else did it, you okay. Yeah. 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 Is that okay? You want the mic? You know? Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. And we're in a world where sometimes it seems like that there is no wrong. And the reason it seems that way, I'll fast forward to get us out of that hole. But the reason it feels that way is because we've rewritten the standard. Yeah. 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 I know what he meant. He didn't really mean that, so I'm gonna let it go. And we rewrite the standard. And when we rewrite the standard, now it becomes a judgment. So when I say, is it okay to steal? And you say, absolutely not. Luke, since you said it, I know it. But then I go, Luke, is it okay to steal? And Luke goes, depends on if you're hungry. Well, now Luke has a standard and you have a standard. Well, guess what? Ted might be in the middle. Ted might say, no, it ain't never okay to steal, but I don't know if I got hungry enough. So he might be and now he's got a standard. And then Brad's got a different standard. And then you're like, no, it ain't never all right to steal. Is it all right to covet? Well, sometimes, because I like so-and-so shoes. I wish I had them, and it's deeper than I wish they had them when we get to covet. But, so on this standard, I'm going to stand solid. Yeah, you don't ever steal. You can't do this. Okay to covet? Well, sometimes. Well, now you've changed the standard. And so the only way to stay straight and narrow in the church, the only way to stay straight and narrow in the world, the only way to stay straight and narrow in Crockett County and Alamo is for us to have a standard that we all agree on. You don't steal. You don't covet. You don't commit adultery. You don't bear false witness. You don't put a God before the God of the creation of heaven. You don't. And that's the standard, and you go back to that, and it doesn't move. Yeah, you're right, Ed. He doesn't say don't think about not doing it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And when you change the standard, then it becomes opinion. There is no standard. And we've got to get back to the standard that God has established from the beginning of this is what is right. And anything against what is right is evil and wrong. God created who? Two people, Adam and Eve. And when he got done with it, he said it is, he used an adjective in there, it is very good. And all was good. Why? Because there was one standard, God and who he created. And from the point that Satan deceived, from that point forward, the standard of God is the standard that is right, and anything against God's will is wrong. End of story. But we've gotten into a world where we play the, well, what if game? And it's not what if. It's what did God set up and establish? If the question I'm asking, is it right or wrong, it can be answered with Matthew chapter 22, whatever it was. I done got off on that other one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind. 22, verse 35 through 40. That should be the standard that goes back and answers the question that I have, is this right or wrong? There's a standard. And when we leave the standard, chaos happens. Okay? Now let me give you an example of this. Okay? I live in America. I have the freedom to go anywhere in America I want. Am I right or am I wrong? I can go anywhere in America I can go, right? Might not like the results. But I live in a free country. I can go anywhere I want to go. Try to go to Fort Knox. Ain't going to make it. I can look at the White House, but guess where I probably ain't going to get to go unless I pay a tour fee or something. I don't even know if they charge for that. There are still places I cannot go in a free country and do what I want to do. That is correct. I can't even go to the booking room of the Crockett County Jail. Well, I could, but the back room of the Crockett County Jail. Yeah. I've never seen the booking room. I don't know. But yeah, there's still. But I live in a country that's free. I can go and do it, but there's still a standard. There's still something I can't do. I can drive from Miami, Florida to Seattle, Washington. But guess what side of the road I'm going to have to drive on? The right-hand side. Why? That's the standard. And if we don't have a standard, it's chaos. I'm coming to you, John. Say it again. Yes. That's correct. Thank you. That's a great way to, at 7:15, to pop that in there. As much as we love freedom, we don't want lawlessness. None of us want lawlessness. Yes. Yes. That's right. But we still have to obey it. And because of that, the standard that has been set in our law books and those that judge over the laws creates somewhat of a standard where we all know what I can and can't do, even in the freedom. And so in the choice and in the freedom of life that I'm living, and I'm a Christian, and I got the choice to do whatever I want, you might, but there's a standard that you've got to follow. Give to Caesar what's Caesar. That's the law. Yeah, do we give this to Caesar or do we not? That's the law. Do you say it again? Correct. Yeah, anything goes. I didn't hear what you said then. Freedom doesn't equal anything goes. And from the very beginning, now here's what happens. Will somebody hit that buzzer for our people? I got a clock so I could see it. Yeah, it works. We're told too many times that there is really no absolutes. There's no right, there's no wrong. We got to decide what's right and wrong under each decision, which is not true. Because what's right in my eyes is whatever I want. I can make it right in my mind. I can make it right every time. Judges chapter 17, verse 6 says something against that. People are doing what is right in their own eyes. And with that comes destruction. And there's a way in Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 12. There's a way that seems right unto man, but in the end is destruction. So when the standard becomes what I think or what I want to happen, and it seems right to me, if it ain't in accordance with God's will, the end is destruction. But if we do what's right according to God's will and the standard set by Him from the beginning, and the end is life for me. And we've got to teach in our community, and that's the only way I can start. I mean, I don't know how much influence I have here, but I got a little bit, I hope. But I sure don't have any outside of here. So I've got to start here with the influence of I need to do what God has established as right. There you go. Yep. Yep. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because God's law doesn't change. You're so right. Norman Schwarzkopf, who was back in the Gulf War, 91, is that when it was? He talked about what should be taught in every military school, every civilian class. We have to teach the importance of character, the importance of ethics and morality. Character has to be that important, you cannot ignore it. Morals, ethics has to be done right. And who sets what is morally right? Who sets what is ethically right? The Lord. He's already said it. We don't even have to recreate it. All we got to do is follow it. He has said it. Let me finish up really, really quick. It's solved with love. Romans chapter 13, verse 9. Somebody, I'll tell you what, I'll get it. I'm there. Romans 13, verse 9. Listen to this. Paul's talking. The commandments, you shall not commit adultery. You shall not murder. You shall not steal. You shall not covet. And any other commandment are summed up in this word. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no wrong to its neighbor. Therefore, love is what fulfills the law. You want to get back to the standard? Love. Well, okay, love. What is love? Let's go through a study and Brad talk. What is love? What is love? You love two things. The Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength, and your neighbor as yourself. And if we stick with that standard and we answer the question of, is this right or is this wrong? And you can answer that question, ring that bell. It is, somebody rang the bell over yonder, it just didn't sound like that buzzer. Somebody over there, they're not loving their teacher right now. We're going to hit a couple of the 10 Commandments next week and get a little deeper into just besides don't steal. Thank y'all. Thanks for making extra effort a little earlier tonight, and hope everybody enjoys getting home a little early.